Yo guys, what is up? Welcome back to another video. And in this video, I'm going to be weighting the polls in 2016 and then making an electoral map based off of them. So basically, for example, say take Utah. Okay? Okay, I didn't want Colorado. And my computer's being laggy, of course. Okay, I'm going to pause this recording so I can make it better. Okay, I'm back. So suppose Hillary Clinton, she was up in Utah. This is not true, but say she was up in Utah by 5 and ended up winning it by 2. That's a 3-point margin of error. And say this year in Utah, Clinton or Biden is up by 4. So we subtract the margin of error, which I believe was 3. So I'll give Biden a 1-point victory. So we're just to start by filling in our safe states. States that aren't really going to be affected by this polling margin of error. And I'll put New Mexico as likely for the Democrats. I would put Minnesota there in Michigan, but the polling was pretty bad there back in 20. Actually, I'll just get rid of all the kind of swing states. So we're just gonna basically do all the swing states that have a chance at. So yeah. Okay, so I think that's it for the Democrats. For the Republicans, again, we're not gonna. This will be fairly weird, but. Like these aren't really like the safe states, but just states that were kind of affected by this polling. Like for example, Montana polls are always weird, so are Utah polls. Alaska polls are always weird. Same with Nevada polls. So we're gonna get started with let's do Alaska. Actually, we'll just keep Alaska red because I don't have the energy to do that. So we're gonna go to Montana. To Clinton versus, let's see if, actually, come on, 2016. Okay, real clear politics. I'm really sorry, guys, but can I find Michigan? Okay, so it doesn't want to come up. So let's do Montana Trump versus Clinton polls. Let's see that. There we go. So RCB1, pull it up now. So basically, the spread was Trump ahead by 15, and currently, and he actually ended up winning it by 20.5. So they underestimated him by 5.5%. And let's go to Montana and see presidential polls. Now there are gonna be a bunch of polls, Bullock versus Daines, but basically Trump has had a lead. He's currently ahead by 8.9. He was ahead by 15 in 2016, so that's 5.5% margin of error. 8.9 plus 5.5 is 14.4. So Montana will be safe with the Republican Party according to this net. I'm going to guess that Utah is because they did underestimate Clinton there or Trump there. Let's see. So this spread so they underestimated Trump by that's stupid clip line, by 7.7%. And then Utah Trump is ahead by 8.5%. So we just add that. That's definitely a safe margin. So yeah, and let's go to Nevada. See Nevada. Trump versus Clinton. So the net had Trump ahead by 0.8. So they underestimated Hillary Clinton actually by 3.2%. Now let's go to Nevada. Biden versus Trump. Biden by 6.6. So let's say the likely margin that he's ahead in the polling by. So that's actually interesting because I rate this as a lean from the Democratic Party. Okay, now we have a very big swing state, Arizona. Okay, let's see Arizona. So they had Trump ahead by 4. He ended up winning at 0.3. So they underestimated the Democrats by 0.5%. So not a huge margin of error there. 0.5%. On Alaska, you want Arizona. 0.5%. Do you want to show up? Okay, there we go. So we add 0.5. So that's a lean Democratic state. So yeah, so far I see all these as being rational. I do think that Nevada's gonna be closer than that, although could be likely, could definitely be likely. New Mexico. Trump versus Clinton. See that? So Clinton was ahead by 5, or in the polling, it was ahead by 5. So they underestimated her by 3.3%, which is pretty bad. 3.3%. Let's go down to New Mexico. And the net is basically 13. So basically, according to the polling average, NM's going to be safe. And I bet that Colorado will probably be safe as well by this. And again, I don't agree with everything here. Because if anything, this actually favors the GOP. So the RCB average for Colorado in 2016 was, so they underestimated Clinton by basically 2%. Now let's go to Colorado. And right now Biden is a 14.6% lead. So that's very, very safe. Even bigger of a margin than New Mexico. So yeah, this is interesting so far. So let's go to Texas. And actually, by using this, I do believe that you're going to put Biden ahead narrowly in Texas because they underestimated Clinton there, or the Democrats will say, by 2.7%. And let's look at the polling average. Biden even, so that's going to give it to the Democrats, not even by a lean margin. That's absolutely insane that this produces that kind of outcome. And I don't think that Texas is going to go to the Democrats, but that's certainly something to look at. Let's go to Nebraska's 2nd congressional district. So that's the only contested one. They ended up, underestimating Clinton there by a pretty big margin. So they had Trump ahead by 5.7%. Okay, we can't actually measure this. We're just going to say... What? Oh, okay, Nebraska's 2nd, thank God. So, if we're using that average, Nebraska's 2nd district will be safe for the Democratic Party. Wow. That's... A lot of these results we're getting are really weird. Okay, let's go to Missouri. So Missouri, on average, they put Trump ahead by 9.5. And let's go to Missouri. 20. So Trump ended up winning it by... So you're basically going to add the huge margin. So by that standard, Missouri is going to be safe, which I do disagree with. I think it'll be likely. So I don't think that they really did polling. Why are they factoring in Gary Johnson? Okay. So they underestimated Trump by 5.5% there. I think that they're going to actually overestimate him this time, but we will see. So, okay. So, yeah. By that definition, Mississippi's going to be safe. But again, some of these poll averages from bad polls in 2016 are making these polls look bad. I didn't even know what I said. Bad. Iowa. Okay. Iowa. So Trump had by 0.3%, and let's see how they underestimated him. They probably underestimated him by a ton. 6.5%. So they'll make Iowa a likely GOP state. Which I disagree with. I think it'll be a lot closer than that. Because remember, in the midterms, in terms of the House vote, Democrats did very well there. They won 3 of the 4 districts. So Minnesota, Cleveland, they on average had... Why does it not show the little graph thing? Okay. Basically on average they had her. They overestimated her here by 3%, basically something like that. So we subtract 3% from the Biden tally, and it'll still barely slip into the likely margin. Could be lean, kind of using this aggregate. I didn't do the math up to the number, so I'm going to put it as lean. I'll do it as likely, but it could be lean. I'm probably doing the math wrong. Michigan. Alright, so they underestimated Clinton here they overestimated Trump. They overestimated Clinton here by almost 4 points. And if we subtract 3.9 from Biden's number, it becomes a lean margin, but it's still outside the margin of error for the Democrats. And they've already hit 270, and we haven't even factored in Virginia, haven't factored in Wisconsin, haven't factored in Pennsylvania, haven't factored in New Hampshire, haven't factored in a bunch of these states. So let's go to South Carolina. South Carolina, Trump versus Clinton. So, okay, so they actually basically... Okay, they underestimated Trump by, 3 points. Probably doing the math wrong. And the polling in South Carolina, South Carolina would be safe by that standard. Probably doing the math wrong. Again, excuse me, I'm really tired right now. I did not sleep last night, but okay, in Florida, looks like we got Finally, Trump ahead by 0.4, so they underestimated him by 0.8%. So that's pretty good poll in Florida. 8%. They have Biden ahead by 7.6%. 7.6%. That's insane. Okay, 7.6%. So we subtract that. That's still a very, very good margin for Biden. That's still a likely state. Now, it is not like a 10-point margin, but still a very, very interesting thing to look at. And let's see Georgia. Okay, so Georgia, Trump had by 4.8. He ended up winning. So they basically were spot on. Georgia underestimated him by 0.3. So that would actually give Trump a tilt margin in Georgia. Okay. Let's go to North Carolina. North Carolina, Trump versus Clinton. So Trump was ahead by the polling by 1%. So it's basically 2.6% more, compared to 2.8%, but same thing. So this is actually gonna 2.8%. Biden's at between 9%. That could be the tightest race of the night. So it would be tilt towards the Democrats. So Biden, there was a poll that came out that had Biden ahead by 7. It is an A+ rated poll, so it's nothing to sneeze at. But right now the net, there are two polls that came out that had Trump ahead. So they netted out. Biden's only ahead by 3. So you just barely give it to Joe Biden. Yeah. Okay. So let's go. Let's waltz on over to Wisconsin. Yes, I'm doing it right now. Wisconsin. So the underestimated Trump here by 7%, and I think that might actually be enough to tip it. But again, that was a very bad poll. Wow. Okay. So that's actually going to tip it towards the GOP. So that would put Trump ahead in Wisconsin. But remember that. June 25th, though. Okay, but remember that was these were very, very bad polls, and no way they're not going to be that bad again. So yeah, so I guess Wisconsin could be tilting towards the GOP. Like, it's not crazy, but again, just very bad polling, bringing the whole thing down by 7%. So let's go to Indiana, which probably was not. It's probably not going to be competitive. Indiana, Trump versus Clinton. Trump ended up winning, so they underestimated him there by 8 points. So either way, it'll be GOP. Net 11.5, so that'll be safe according to this. So basically in the Midwest, so we're going to start to see is that in the Midwest, it'll be drastically moving towards the GOP, like Minnesota, Michigan only being lean, Iowa and Missouri, Iowa being likely, Missouri and Indiana being safe, Wisconsin being GOP, but then in the South, it's like looking very good for the Democrats. So, yeah. Ohio, Trump ahead by 2.1%. Okay. Oh no, I was looking at something else. Cool. Biden ahead by 1.4%, and they probably underestimated Clinton here. Sorry, they probably underestimated Trump here. So the spread actually had him. Just no, not the general election. Just one. Ohio. That Trump had by 2, so they underestimated him by 6.1. So that would put in a likely margin for the GOP. Just barely likely margin. So again, underestimating the GOP across the Rust Belt. That's because they've adjusted. Okay, Pennsylvania. Let's see. So they underestimated Trump here by 2.8%. I think that's actually yeah. So that's still going to be just barely lean. It was almost likely, but barely lean for the Democrats. So like they're still winning Michigan and Pennsylvania. That's how big these leads in the polls are for the Democratic Party. Right, so let's let's do Virginia. Virginia. They were basically spot on. So they underestimated Clinton by 0.1%. So we'll just add 0.1% to Biden's tally. So he wins that by still a high unlikely margin. Virginia. Wait, I just said okay. I meant New Hampshire, my bad. New Hampshire is right there. Biden had by 7.6. They were spot on. So, by that definition, New Hampshire's going to go to Biden by a likely margin. And now it's going to, okay, let's go to finally Maine 2nd Congressional District. Maine Congressional District. Clinton, so they underestimate Trump by 11%. That's really bad. Maine 2nd District. Yeah, so by this one poll, that'll be safe for the Republicans. I don't think that'll happen. But yes, this is the final map. If you skip to the end, this is your clickbait. Well, not clickbait, because I don't clickbait you guys, and I hope I don't. So basically, bottom line, let's now compare this to what I think is going to happen in the election. Okay, so we're going to compare this to what I think is going to happen. So this is the map if we weight it according to the polls, but this is what I think is going to happen. So I'm just going to fill this out. I'm not going to talk about this map, but so let's go ahead and fill this out. So if we weight the polls basically on what happened in 2016, the overall trend is that you're underestimating Democrats across the Sun Belt in places like Nevada, Arizona, and Texas, Florida, but you're overestimating you're overestimating the Democrats in the South, Sun Belt, and you're overestimating the GOP in places like Wisconsin, Iowa, Missouri, Indiana, Ohio. And even then, Joe Biden still won the election with over 360 electoral votes. Even when you weight the polls by how bad they were in 2016, Joe Biden still wins by the same margin that Barack Obama won in 2008. That's a very, very bad sign for Donald Trump. And so I'm just going to go ahead and fill this map out so you guys can see what my actual prediction is, and based on if we weight the polls. This is my actual prediction. Okay, I'm just going to fill this out already. So, okay, so this is what I think is going to happen. I'm going to go with that. And yes, this is what I think is going to happen. So the Democrats are going to win, or Joe Biden's going to win the election by basically this margin. And so, yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I did take, a decent amount of time into filming this video, basically as long as you took to listening to me talk. But yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. Please do consider subscribing. I have a Patreon if you guys want to go above and beyond and help me out, get a better mic, for example. But other than that, I just appreciate you guys watching and liking my videos. So thanks for watching. This is how we weight the polls, and this is what I think it's going to be like. So they're overestimating the Democrats even when you weight them by how bad they were in 2016.